Hello everyone, Seraphin here, welcome back for more Metroid Fusion. In this episode we are going to be doing some more tank hunting. As I explained in the previous episode, we're going to be spending some time collecting the remainder of the tanks and things that we don't have yet. Oh, it's a screw attack Walker, I knew that. That being said, I did have some time to review a map since the last time we met, and kind of get a gauge on what areas I still need to visit, what tanks I'm still missing, and I kind of narrowed it down. We're not missing that many, actually, and there's actually only 2 left in this sector to grab, so we're going to do those today and finish out Sector 2. Man, I do not like these guys. And then I also went ahead and confirmed that we do in fact have every tank in Sector 1 and Sector 5. And we're only missing that one in Sector 4. So for the most part, we can steer clear of those 3 areas and just focus on, looks like it's going to be 3 and 6 after this. There's a fair few tanks left actually in Sector 6 that I missed, so that is going to be the, actually, I think Sector 3 might have the most as far as ones that I did not obtain yet. And the reasons for that largely are because most of Sector 3 was not accessible the last time I was there. I can't go. No, I can go through here. I can space jump up this way. I know I mentioned last time that there's no restrictions on my movement any longer, and that's true. However, there are still some places that simply are impassable because, you know, maybe the SAX destroyed the hatch or something, or I have to find a new way around, but I can still get anywhere I need to get in this map, so it's not that big of a concern. And I went the wrong way. I'm gonna go back up where we came from a second ago. It does tend to get a little confusing when you think about where have I been and how did I get there the last time, because it's not quite the same method always. That's alright, we don't need to worry about them. Down through here, yep, here we go. So, what I could not get the first time we visited here, this is actually a boss room, if you remember. That big, creepy, sneaky, jumpy thing. Up here is a little tiny ledge that I have to screw attack through. And that will lead us into this room. So this is going to be tricky. This is going to involve a lot of very careful, very tedious if you don't know how to do it, speed boosting and shine sparking. So I'm going to start by trying to get this one over here first. Actually didn't go too bad, did it? Now you'll notice what I had to do there was I actually had to crouch at the end of the hall there, jump up, straighten myself out by hitting up, and then shine spark into this wall. Because if I had just done it from right here on the edge and done it, you can do it diagonally by the way too. If I had just done it diagonally, I would have hit right there on the edge and not gotten through either of these 2 blocks. And I would not have gotten that. I've had plenty of time to master that and practice it a lot, but if you go into this part, it may be very tedious for you, so I apologize in advance for that. And this is going to be a fun one. You have to continuously shine spark, hit the ledge, and then run across to maintain your charge. And then crouch at the end of the hallway. And then do it again like that. Okay, that didn't take too long. That top one will mess you up because there's a bit right where it stops and you have to jump up again. So, again, I've had plenty of practice doing that. So apologies if your attempts at doing that are not as easy or as quick as mine. I've suffered plenty trying to get a lot of those. Alright, so that being said, that is Sector 2. We have completed Sector 2, and we have to go all the way back up to where we came from to get out of here, so apologies for the long trip. That being said, I think we're going to sneak into Sector 4 and grab the last tank there next. Then we can finish that up. And that will just leave the sectors divisible by 3. Let's do a quick save real quick. Happy to not have to do those 2 again. Those are actually, you know what, it's kind of funny. When I first learned about how to get those 2 tanks that we just did, I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Like, are they really that difficult? But turns out, this is kind of funny, now that I've gotten so good at it for doing it for so long, I actually kind of enjoy it. And I know that sounds crazy, just because there's that one that we did last episode that took me forever that I had to fast forward through that I still don't like. Because no matter how many times you do that one, it is still incredibly difficult. And I don't understand why that is. I think they just made it that difficult just to be a pain, but holy smokes, is that not fun. Can I get through this door at the end? Yes, I can. Okay, perfect. We actually need to go back up to right where that security room was almost. This is the wrong way. I have to go a little bit further up still. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how it goes from being an absolutely frustrating challenge to kind of enjoyable. I think that's what a lot of gamers tend to experience once they've dealt with something incredibly difficult in other games. Like, if you're a fan of Dark Souls, which I am not, full disclosure, just the absolute gluttony for punishment that some of the peoples of that game must have to go through, because I've played a little bit of it, just enough to understand what it's about and whatnot, but holy crap, I don't understand how anybody can enjoy playing that game. I just don't get it. Like, it's so tedious, and not just tedious, but there is a lot of very difficult encounters that, and it's funny because the subtitle of the third one is "Prepare to Die" or something like that, because they expect you to die a lot because their bosses are just that hard and they know it. That's what's crazy to me, and I don't find that all that appealing. I don't think the idea of making something challenging just for the sake of it being challenging is all that appealing. I would rather have something be a challenge and just have it be that if you practice enough and you're good enough, you can take care of it no problem. But I guess that kind of is what Dark Souls is when you boil it right now, honestly. But not to me, it's not. I don't get any enjoyment out of that. Maybe it's because I suck at it. Your mileage may vary. I don't begrudge anybody who likes that game, because I'm sure it's great. If you enjoy it, do whatever you want. It's your life, man. I am not one of those people. So, at any rate, I guess that's the closest I can ever get to experiencing that level of difficulty that I now enjoy, or former wanting to pull my hair out rage that I now find interesting and appealing. So now that we have the screw attack, we can jump straight through this big thing and grab this last missile tank. So that will take care of Sector 4. Now, what's on the other end of this one? Sector 5's on the other end. We don't need to go to Sector 5, so we're just going to go back the way we came. Need to defuse that thing again. This is one of the more unorthodox upgrades, but it's kind of neat. Like, you wouldn't think that there'd be a whole lot of applications for it. It's like, oh, well, how useful can that thing really be? Well, you find a lot more situations than you might otherwise expect. And the funny thing, too, is it's an optional upgrade. Like, you don't need to get that... Whoops. It's funny that data room's still there. Every other one's been blown up. You don't need to get the diffusion upgrade to progress. In fact, the game kind of expects you to not find it unless you go looking. You're looking where you're not supposed to, really. But you don't have to get it. It's perfectly optional. So, thankfully, this diffusion block is still missing. In fact, you couldn't get to this area here if you didn't have the diffusion missiles. This is another one of those little connecting tubey things here. This goes to Sector 6. That being said, however, Sector 6 is not where we need to be. I want to be in Sector 3, so we're going to do 6 last. There's a couple of reasons for that, but we're actually going to traverse Sector 4 here to get to the other side of it. And that's going to put us into Sector 5, which is really not where we want to be, but that's okay. Sector 5 isn't that difficult to traverse any longer, so... And getting through Sector 5 will get us to Sector 3, so... So I want to make sure I avoid going to... Here's the problem right now with this. With the area that I'm in right now, if I were to go back up to that little strip there with the recharge, the save, and the navigation room all in a row, it would actually lock me out and prevent me from going back into the sector itself, because the game is telling you, hey, story progression time, and we're going to force you. So the only way to get from sector to sector is to take these little tunnels, or else you get stopped by your computer. And that's the whole reason they put those in there, is so that you can traverse the sectors and grab all of the extra tanks and get 100% completion without having to go get stopped by the computer every time. So the tube is right down that way. Just take this little route here and jump into everything on our way there, because it's fun. I think we just need to run straight across here. It is nice being able to just jump indefinitely for as long as you want to. Should be able to bomb the floor here. This is the only sector of the map I never got to explore previously. And there's that door I never went in. And right here is what I want. We actually came through this before, did we not? I believe we did. So we'll make it through here. And the type to Sector 3 is actually up on the top there, if you recall, so that's where we need to get. I don't know if you remember or not. I know it's been a little convoluted and this map is big, so don't begrudge anybody not remembering things. I certainly don't remember things half the time. In fact, my memory is atrocious, so I don't know why I can't just screw attack through that. Do I need to put a power bomb there? Oh. Alright. That works too, I guess. You'll notice I did a mid-air power bomb. Yeah, that takes some practice too. I mean, you could... It's not that difficult to pull off, so don't mind me tooting my own horn here, but definitely had to practice that one. Alright, we should be able to just go straight up through here. Yeah. And this will take us to Sector 3. So Sector 3 has a fair few tanks that we missed, or never got a chance to get to. In fact, there's one right here, which is interesting enough. This is the only tank that's actually in one of these connecting tunnels. It's right there. You'll see the circle on the map is actually kind of squished in there a little bit. That's alright. So that's one down already. Now, we were in here before and got this energy tank in here, but we couldn't go through the floor because of the screw attack requirements. Let's see if I can remember where to go in Sector 3 now that I'm thinking about it. Oh yeah, okay, so let's go this way. You know what I'm going to do, in fact? Just to save myself some time. It's not that important, but it's fun to do, so... If I do this... Very satisfying. I love it. It's fun to use the speed booster, honestly, just to get around if you can. There's very few real applications for it beyond getting tanks. So, I mean, there's that. Alright, we're gonna head all the way down to the end of this column down here. I believe I got this one already, did I not? No. No, I did not. There's actually a tank over here. It's a power bomb, no surprise there. Right up in here. Don't need to worry about stepping on that guy. Normally you can use him as a stepping stone if you freeze him, but since I can jump indefinitely, it doesn't matter. Grab that one. That's 2 down already. I believe there's a total of 6 power bomb tanks that we missed, and we've already gotten 2 of them, so that means 4 more. It's so much fun to just somersault into things and kill them. Now that we are immune to this lava, we can just jump right into it. Those fireballs coming out of the surface still hurt you, but the lava itself does not, which is fine. There's actually one down here, if you can believe it. Power bomb, okay, fine. This is actually kind of like a little labyrinth situation here. It's really hard to tell where you're supposed to go, but you need to go up and over this way. Of course, this is all, like, hidden blocks and whatnot. Scroll right along the bottom. If I'm not mistaken, that floor is false floor, so we need to be careful here. Hop over that gap and grab the power bomb. And then we can get right back out of here. I don't believe there's any back toward the boiler room area. No. In fact, you can see there's one off to the right there that we saw but weren't able to get. So that's going to be our next target. Let's go sweep that up real quick. Sadly, I don't have any room to shine spark all the way across this particular lava room like I did the last one. But that's okay. So I think this is meant to be a speed booster room, so... Oh, there's going to be quite a bit to do in this area of the sector we've not seen before, so we're going to get into that in the next episode. We did collect quite a bit this time, so I'm pretty happy about that. We might be able to get all the rest in maybe 2 more episodes. We'll see. Possibly 3. I don't quite know yet, but I'll give you an idea of that once I know more. So, thank you all for joining me in this episode. Sorry if it's not all that interesting watching me grab tanks, but maybe if you're wanting to use these as a walkthrough later in your own playthroughs, feel free. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Until next time, though, we'll do more tank hunting in the next episode. So, thank you all very much for joining me. I have been Seraphin. I'll see you next time. Stay classy, internets.